Human Being says, question, do North Americans view Turkish people as Middle Eastern in your opinion? I know that Turkish people consider themselves Middle Eastern. I know that. I did have, when I was training for my certification with a British university, so I could teach English in Egypt, one of my instructors was Turkish. It's definitely a different region. And I would say Middle Eastern and Arab are different, as is North African too. You know, each kind of has their own flavor. Like, I wouldn't say that North Africans and people in Turkey have much in common, but probably closer to the country they would. You know what I mean? Like, it's, you know, and I know, Human Being, you totally understand the region, but for everybody, for everybody else, you know, it's a much larger region than you would think, because, you know, Egypt is in North Africa, as is Algeria, Libya, Morocco. Morocco is really even very different than Egypt. It's very different culturally, and we hop over the Red Sea, and there we have Saudi Arabia and Yemen, and we keep going, you know, and then we're getting into, you know, like Kuwait, right? Iran, Iraq. We start to get into Persia. So that's different too. They're all very, very different. So when I say Middle East, I guess it's very broad. It's extremely broad. But when I think Arab, they're not Arabs. But I guess they do consider themselves to be Middle Eastern. What do you think? What do you guys think? 12, did you see National Geographic's DNA project that concluded that the majority of Egyptians are not genetically Arab? No, I didn't. I did not. No. So I did actually look into this after the stream, and this was a study done, National Geographic Genographic Project on the Egyptian genetic makeup. And what's interesting is that even the Egyptian media misinterpreted the results. So I have a graphic on the screen now that shows what the results actually were. And it's not that 17% of Egyptians are Arab. It's that their genetic makeup is of 17% Arab and 68% North African. So it's not a matter of the entire population only being 17% Arab, if that makes sense. So, but those results were even misinterpreted by the Egyptian media that, only 17% of us are Arabs, but it's really the genome, the genetic makeup of each Egyptian is approximately the people who were studied, the DNA that was studied is this makeup, just like you would see on like 23andMe. Oh, it depends really who you talk to. Like, I know in Libya, the former Colonel Gaddafi considered himself to be African. He did not consider himself to be Arab or Middle Eastern. He is or was African, to the point where, you know, the clothing that he wore certainly was not Arab. And when he traveled, he would like, you know, bring all his people with him. He wouldn't stay in hotels. He would pitch tents, you know, pretty fancy tents, and live outside while visiting. I think he did that like in Central Park or something. Like, he would not live in hotels because he's like, I'm African. This is what we do. So, I mean, you know, and that's not too far from Egypt. You have Algeria between Libya. No, actually, Libya is bordering Egypt. I don't know what I'm thinking. I used to see Libyans come down a highway where I used to live all the time. Yeah. So, and they look so different because of the way they were dressed. It was not even close to how Egyptians dress at all. They really stood out. So Gaddafi considered himself African, point blank. That's it. So, I think some Egyptians are Arab, and I would say it's been kind of mixed in, you know. But like, when you go to Upper Egypt near Luxor, that's a different type of Egyptian. That really is. That is. So it's very, very regional. Very regional. I know some Egyptians would consider themselves to be Arab, identify more with Arab. But some really consider themselves to be North African. That's it. So, yeah, I know. It's a huge region, but people just kind of think of it as over there and just lump it all together. And there are just so many differences. Like the Gulf, where Kuwait is not like North Africa. That's why I say I understand Arab culture, but the Gulf Arabs are different. They are different than North Africans, than people from Saudi Arabia. Different. Isn't it all mixed? No, not really. Not really. I mean, some are, of course, but I wouldn't say it's one big jumble of a region at all. Not at all.